All right, so now that we've covered simple drawing, we're going to get into modifying. So in the last exercise, most of what we were doing was two-dimensional drawing. It was mostly drawing on a flat surface, unless you use the lines along the blue z-axis to go up in the air, a rectangle that went up in the air as well. But what I'm going to do is show you how to make things three-dimensional, how to move things around three-dimensional space, how to rotate things, how to make things a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, so on and so forth. So up here, these are your modifying tools, and before we modify something, we have to have something made. So again, you have your notes here. By all means, look at them if you need them, but I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to start off by making a simple rectangle shape. The first and probably the most often used modifying tool is going to be the push-pull tool right here. And what that does is if you have any kind of surface, and keep in mind a surface is anything that's actually filled in. If you only have lines, that does not count as a surface. So if you have this gray surface here, whenever you mouse over it with the push-pull, you'll see the selection dots. You can click, hold, drag, and there you go. Very quickly, very efficiently, very easily, you've now made a three-dimensional box. You can do this with any flat surface. So I can now put a circle on top of this box. I can put a polygon on the side of this box, and I'm going to be able to pull out both of those surfaces. But this is going to be a good example to show you where push-pull doesn't work. So anytime I have a flat surface, I can push-pull pretty much anything. Right here, it is not letting me pull this out because if I did, it would run into this surface down here. So that's one exception. Another exception is right here on this corner. It is not letting me pull any further than this. It'll let me push back in, but it's not letting me pull any further because it is running into that line. Now, if I pull this line out, it lets me pull further, but it's going to stop me whenever I intersect with this line. There's some ways to get around it. Um, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys try to figure those out either on your own, but if you really get in a position where you're stuck and you need to do something like that, let me know. I'll show you. I've got a couple of tricks. But where the push-pull doesn't work is on a curved surface. So again, we can pull this cylinder up all we want, but you can see if you look at my cursor here, there's a little red circle with a line through it. I cannot pull out the curved surface. Pull out a straight surface, pull this up and down, pull this up and down, pull this in and out. Can't touch that. So keep that in mind. This is probably the fastest way that you can push and pull a surface. And it works in conjunction, again, with most tools. As long as you have, the line completed, you can use the freehand. Pull that out. Keep in mind, though, it doesn't work on curves. Okay? Oop. Nope. Just on regular surfaces here. Okay? Can do it with arcs. I should be able to pull this arc out now. There we go. All right. Still can't do it on curves though. Really cool thing that you can do with the push-pull tool is you can also use it to delete things, which is really clever if you are trying to maybe hollow out an object or maybe make a ramp or a bridge or something like that. So I'm going to start off again, rectangle down on the ground. I'm going to pull it up. I am now going to use the arc tool like I had done before. I'm going to hollow the center of this out by using push-pull. So rather than pulling this out, I'm going to push it into the surface, which that by itself is pretty cool. You can almost make like a seat doing that. But if I continue to push all the way to that surface, you see how it's giving me this like weird, glitchy looking texture? If I let go, it actually is going to delete that texture. So that's a really cool way that you can kind of like hollow objects out, but keep in mind, it doesn't always work, and just because you push an object through uh, doesn't mean that it's going to go all the way through. So the example is going to be here. I'm going to try to push this arc, through the rest of this shape, and it's either going to stop me or it's going to just do something really weird. Yep, it did a really weird thing. Okay, now you can see it formed this new curve inside of that curve. It did go all the way through, but you can still see the bottom of this curve is also in that shape. So it doesn't totally hollow it out. If I did click on this surface here, I could delete it, but now it's deleted pretty much all of the negative space underneath here. If I clicked on and deleted this surface here, same thing. So now I've got like this weird sketchy shaped box. So just keep that in mind. Push pull, really convenient, can do some weird things. The next thing that we have is the offset tool. In the notes I said this is a really clever tool for making windows. So if I have a rectangle and then I pick offset, oop, come on, click and hold. You can see here it's giving me a perfectly shaped rectangle inside of it. All the edges are going to be totally parallel and they're going to be totally evenly spaced. So if I needed to, say, make a window in a frame, I could then change this, delete it, or I could change it into glass or something like that, and then I've got my nice little window frame. I could also do something, I don't know, like this. Say I needed a castle wall and I needed grass in the middle. I could lift all the walls around that, and now I could have, you know, the inside of this box-like shape. Okay, so it's really handy for I don't know, making smaller or bigger shapes. Now you can go bigger with this as well. Oop, wrong tool. All right, same thing. So just keep that in mind. Those are options. That's pretty much all this tool does. There's not really a whole lot of secret special things. It does work with all the shapes. So you could do a circle. You could come and get offset and do a small circle on the inside. You could do a big circle on the outside. You can try it with a freehand. Don't get your hopes up too much. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, usually something crazy happens. All right, so experiment. If it's useful to you, great. If not, oh well, don't use it. All right, next tool we're going to show you is the move tool. It is a handy tool, but it can be a temperamental tool. You are definitely going to find yourself in a position where you want to move something, you want to adjust something, but where you're going to run into trouble with the move tool is if you have two objects that are connected. So first, let me show you how the move tool works simply, and then I'll show you some of the difficulties that come with it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give myself a box here, and I'm going to make sure I have no sides selected. If I come in with the move tool, watch what happens. Okay, it's only moving the top of this box. So if I wanted to move this whole box, which actually this might be useful to you. You might want a shape like this. But say I wanted to move this whole box, I wanted it to stay a box, I just wanted it someplace else. You got to make sure that you select the whole box. You also have to make sure, if you only want to move the box, that you do not accidentally select anything else. If you select multiple things, you're going to move all of them. Okay, but I'm just going to select this box. Now if I use the move tool, I can try that again. Move tool, there we go. Box is moving. Okay, so I can move that box anywhere. It's important, if you do use the move tool and you want the box to only move side to side or up and down, that you use those inferences. If you go off the inferences, I can't guarantee that your box is going to stay grounded to the ground or line up with other objects that it used to line up with. So whenever you are moving, you can see it's giving me that blue line up, it'll give me the red line over, it'll give me the green line back. All right. So try to use those as much as possible. If you are just using some black line and you're just going back here, we got lucky and it stayed on the surface, but if I went up into the sky here by accident, okay, you can see how that happens. So just be careful with the move tool. And then getting it back down on the ground is difficult because there technically is no ground. So I can use that y-axis and go down, but you can actually see that red line is going, it's going through the box. So I really can't tell where the ground plane actually is. Alright, yep, still kind of floating above compared to everything else. So keep that in mind. Alright. Next tool is, oh wait, we're going to talk about other things that the move tool does poorly. So same thing, if I have, say, this box here, and I want to build another box on it, and I pull this box out, but oh crap, I don't like where that box is. I want it on this side of the tool. First of all, if you want to select this box, you have to make sure that you just select this box. Now, anything that you don't put an entire selection around isn't going to be selected. So even though my selection box, I drew it out, it went down into this box, I didn't fully get my dragged out box around any of these other lines. So I do just have this box. If you're unsure or if you're a little nervous, you can do it the hard way. You can double click and it will, on a surface, and it will select the line as well as the surface. Okay. And now I can move that. Okay. Be careful. Make sure that you, if you say just do the surfaces, you sometimes don't get so lucky. Oh, we did get lucky. Okay then. What can happen, what I was trying to demonstrate, is sometimes the surfaces will stick together. And you might have something, now I'm exaggerating, I'm showing you this on purpose, but you might have something like that happen. So, beware. All right, we're going to move on to rotation. So I'm going to get rid of this box here on the top, and I'm going to rotate this box. Rotation, again, tricky tool. As long as you use it in simple ways, you're not going to get screwed up. So if you click on your rotation tool, now keep in mind, if I want to rotate this whole box, I have to select the whole box. If I don't, see how I got this twist in the box, all right? Make sure that you select your whole object. So you can see there's a nice little circle on top of here. That's just how the rotation tool works. That circle, though, it changes depending on the surface. So you can see that it's corresponding to the axes. It's blue here, it's red here, it's green here. So whatever axis that you want to use, you can use that. You can also use it on the edges, okay, which isn't a bad idea sometimes. Right now, I'm going to just turn it right in the middle point here on the top. So I'm going to click once to say that this is the way that I want to turn it. You can imagine this almost like a steering wheel. So I've attached the steering wheel to the top here. That means that if I'm looking straight up and down at it, it's going to spin this way. If I was to attach it to the side here, it's going to spin around this way. All right, but I'm going to attach it here on the top. One click to attach it. The next click gives you a place to start. So again, good to follow the inferences, especially if you're going to only move something 90 degrees. So I'm going to start with this red line, and I can rotate it however far I want. It's snapping to the green inference, so that's going to give me a 90-degree turn. So if I wanted that to be turned that way, that's great, I can leave it. If I do want to turn this on any kind of crazy angle, I can do that. But just keep in mind, the more that you go off of like 90-degree angles and you get a little bit wild, things might not hook up as well. So I do urge you to try to stick with using your inferences. Same thing here though on the side. Going to rotate it, going up into the air. All right, no big deal. I can also go on a wacky angle. Probably not going to line up with my other stuff over here. You can also rotate on an edge, which might be helpful to you, or even on a corner. So say I like this line here, I like exactly where it is, but I want this block to lay down right over here next to it. I could put this, the rotation tool right here on the corner of this. I could go straight up this line, and I could bring that down flat, and that is going to be flat to where it was. It's going to go down 90 degrees. All right. That's the rotation tool. And the last one is the scale tool. So if we click, we have this whole object selected again. I'm going to select off of it to show you. If I click the scale tool on this, it is only letting me change the scale of this surface. But this looks kind of like Illustrator here. You got your anchor points. You can pull on those anchor points. You don't have to hold Shift to keep this scale the same. Actually, if you hold down Shift, it lets you unlock the scale. And I can go into wacky shapes. But if I don't hold down Shift, it's the opposite of Illustrator. If I don't hold it down, it keeps things even. This might be a useful thing for you to get some angles, maybe to do like some rooftops or some ramps or something like that. But if you like the shape or the object that you have and you want to just change how big or how small it is, select the whole object, and if you change scale, It gives you all scaling options, so you can make it big, you can make it small. You can also pull it down from the corners. You pull it up from the corners. Uh, you can pull it in one direction, make it long, short, up and down at the same time. Okay, that is how scale works. So for your exercise, for your printout that you're going to show me that you have used these tools, I want to see an example of pulling and pushing. So pick a shape. You don't have to show me every single shape, but just pick a shape. A circle is actually probably the best one. Pull it up. To show me offset, you can just give me a flat shape on the ground. It can be freehand. It could be one of the regular shapes. Show me a perfectly offset shape inside of another shape. You're not going to be able to show me move. You can show me rotation by showing me a shape that is on a weird angle. So for that, I would suggest that you do a rectangle. Again, you pull it up, and that you use rotation, or you can either twist it or rotate a whole object. Doesn't matter to me. And for scale, why don't we go ahead and give ourselves kind of like a tweaked, maybe like a ramped type of shape by just selecting the one point of the scale. All right, so make sure that you show on your screen all the examples that I can see everything clearly. Don't make me guess, or else I'm not going to give you the credit for it. I'm going to default on the side of no, you didn't do it. So make sure that you demonstrate all those things clearly, frame everything up nice in the center so I can see everything. File, print, put it with your other exercise printout, and you can turn that in with your rubric when everything is done. If you have any questions, call me over. If you need to go back and watch this video again, pause it, try things, play the video, go back and forth between that, do it. Ask me for help. Good luck.